What is up, everybody? It is me, DevilNeverCry, and we are back with another Vergil Must Die S-Rank run, this time tackling Mission 4, a mission that was specific to V in the main game, and I guess technically we're still playing as V, in a sense. But we're playing through this as Vergil, of course, and that's thanks to the DLC, or the Special Edition, which allows you to play from start to finish with Vergil, a Divergence mode. This was a request people wanted for the rest of the characters ever since DMC5's original release. People wanted to play the game from start to finish as their favorite character, whether it was Nero, Dante, or V, but I guess Capcom missed a trick there and didn't add it in. I'm not sure why. There certainly was a lot of requests from the community to add this as a feature, but it simply wasn't to be. So we're starting things off here as usual. We're going to actually tackle a behemoth soon in this mission, right at the beginning. An enemy that is kind of just nothing but a tank in the standard difficulties, but when you ramp it up to DMD, this enemy can kill you in 2 hits, one hit, even if your health isn't maxed out at 2 bars there. And so this enemy is incredibly dangerous. Its entire body becomes an active hitbox the moment it starts an attack. So if you're anywhere near it, you got to be very, very careful. Other than that, we've of course got the Climb Off the Roots at the end of this mission as well. Another boss as we continue to travel through this ruined city. Again, these vistas are amazing compared to the Climb Off the Tree and the later missions. But the boss isn't going to necessarily be too hard with Vergil. We're gonna essentially destroy it. I want to say, in a relatively simple way, thanks to Vergil and his repertoire of super moves. But our point average so far is pretty decent. We're actually already past the S rank sort of requirement. And so if we continue through the level at the same pace, then we should be perfectly fine in getting this S rank. We're also going to come across some nobodies in this mission, and in this game, they pretty much act similarly to the way they do in DMC1, with the added addendum in that if you leave them to do their crazy demon dance, they will summon more nobodies. So you really got to be aggressive when you tackle them. And the whole name of nobodies itself is pretty interesting, right? Because looking through the enemy files for DMC1 in this game, they were titled nobodies because they were deemed to be so weak and worthless that they weren't fit to have a name, hence the title nobody. But that is a motherfucking lie. These enemies, not only do they output a substantial amount of damage, but they can take a huge beating. So I don't know what was going on that day, during these demon examinations when they were handing out titles and names. Maybe they were drunk, maybe they didn't know what they were doing, but yeah, weak and worthless they definitely are not. I mean, even Mundus himself had them in his little castle back in the day in DMC1 in Malay Island, and they've subsequently made a return here. So they must have some sort of use, as we literally come up across the nobody encounter. But again, these enemies, there's nothing in general that's going to give you too much trouble. The nobodies, you can, though they do a lot of damage and they take a lot of damage, they aren't all that fast. Just make sure to stay on top of them. Don't let them summon anymore. Maybe you want them to summon more if you're running low on your tally of style points, but for me, I just want to get rid of them as quickly as possible. As we go into our Beowulf combos here. One thing that I try and do quite a lot is use the round trip, especially when you're next to groups of enemies, because what that'll do is it'll draw them in, and it will allow you to sort of concentrate your attacks on them, without having to target them individually, because a lot of Vergil's attacks have very wide hitboxes, which of course makes sense. His katana is said to be, over 1.5 meters in length, which if you look at actual katanas, they were nowhere near that size. But we make quick work of this encounter thanks to the incredibly deep stinger. No idea why it's been titled that. I don't know if Vergil's whipping out the tape measure. What does he deem to be deep? Does it mean deep on an emotional level? I digress. Anyway, we're going to be skipping a few encounters here, which makes sense in that we have all we need for an S rank, and I don't want to risk you know, taking on an encounter, not doing amazing, and then dropping substantially. That's exactly what I do not need. We've got some Hell Judekas here, which I'm not a big fan of the Judekas with any of the other characters, but with Vergil, because he's so overpowered, we can just make quick work of them very, very easily. Camera manipulation, of course, is your best friend if you are struggling. But, spoiler alert, we're going to come out of this encounter with more than enough style points anyway. Vergil's got such a large repertoire of very damaging, very powerful moves that pretty much anything you hit these enemies with is golden. You know, there's a lot of moves that some of the other characters have which are great for upping your style points, obviously with variety and whatnot, but they tend not to do a lot of damage, if that makes sense. So, you know, there is a bit of a trade-off there in that you get a lot of style, but not a lot of damage. With Vergil, that's obviously not the case, because everything he does a lot of damage, and subsequently it gives you a lot of style points. As we use the Judgment Cut End to clean up. And then Hell on Earth, the ultimate move, insane. But yeah, Vergil really does make quick work of this difficulty as we head into this boss fight. I'm not the biggest fan of this boss fight, mainly because it features, you know, 3 other mini small enemies that will pull your lock on and pull your focus, and they're just annoying to deal with. You know, I tend to prefer bosses where it's just a one-on-one fight. But we're going to whack ourselves in this left-hand side corner here, and we're going to focus on the main boss, the actual route itself, not its little enlarged hentai tentacles, whatever you want to call them. And we're just going to whittle down its health a little bit. And we're doing this for a few reasons. One, to keep our concentration gauge high, because we're going to be using some World of V in a second. And also to help build up our SDT so that I can hit it with the huge fuck-off moves, because all of them do a lot of damage and they also hit a very wide area. Now what's great about using World of V is that if you have your level 3 concentration, like all the way to the max or above the last notch there, whenever you use World of V, Nightmare will come in some sort of spectacular fashion and do a lot of damage. If the enemy is very far away, sometimes he'll come in like a meteor. Other times he'll literally drop from the ceiling like a ragdoll, which is hilarious to watch, but it does a decent amount of damage. And in the next mission, mission 5, with that boss, with the Cavaliere Angelo, you're going to see us use World of V quite a bit, thanks to that move that it does, along with the fact that it gives you a lot of invincibility frames. But this boss is about to feel pain on a large scale. We take care of all of the hentai tentacles and down the boss with a simple Hell on Earth. And then we go through the Judgment Cut, and we're about to finish the boss off quite easily. He's hiding right now all the way up at the top, because he knows he's about to get his shit rocked live on TV. But that is pretty much going to be it. The boss is down and out for the count, and that gives us our S rank. It's been me, DevilNeverCry. I'd like to thank all of you for watching, and as always, I'll see you all next video.